Hey everybody, welcome to the Ronline Report. Joining us today is someone I've always wanted to get the story on because he was someone I followed years ago in bodybuilding. As he rose up the amateur ranks, he had a very brief pro career. Didn't hear a thing about him for a long time. Then he ended up becoming the boyfriend and now husband of a girl I went to high school with. And that's how I know him. But you guys remember him. Some of you guys should, at least, if you're not too young. Caprice Murray, also known as Mutant Muscle. Caprice, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to run down your competitive highlights for the youngsters out there, or even to brush it up for some of us older guys. So it looks like you started competing at 17 years old. Is that right? 16, 17?
Yeah.
Wow, 16. Okay. So you were in the team nationals. 1992, you won the lightweight class. 1993, you took second in the middleweight class. This was a very famous teenage nationals because the heavyweight winner was Jay Cutler.
Yes.
He didn't win the overall. Light heavyweight won the overall. Some kid named Branch Warren. So
I remember like it was yesterday.
wow, that was 1993. So you weren't an overnight sensation. You were doing this for a while before you turned pro. You turned pro as a heavyweight at the NPC Nationals 2004. And how tall are you, Caprice, if you can recall?
6.5.
5'6.5". That is a lot of muscle. That is a lot of muscle. And we're going to be throwing up some pictures throughout this so people can get an idea of just how massive you were at that time. You were truly mute. Hardly did you justice. But I want to start way back in the beginning. You grew up in an area that could not have been very easy to grow up in, Washington Heights, New York. What was that like as a kid?
In the beginning, it was pretty diverse. In the beginning, when I was really, really young.
Yeah.
And then as to my teenage age, it changed. It became more Hispanic, Dominican.
Yeah. Because you went to school with Victor Martinez, correct?
Yeah, me and Victor Martinez grew up together. We went to elementary, we went to junior high school, and we split kind of in high school.
Were there other future pros in there too, or was it just you guys?
In our area, it was just Victor and I.
Okay. Victor told a funny story about how you guys used to arm wrestle for lunch money or something.
Yeah, we were the arm wrestling champions in school.
Well, you were the one. You were undefeated,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
So were you naturally a strong kid?
Yeah, I was a naturally very strong kid. Yeah.
You must have been. And I read this. I recall this too. You lost your mom very early, only 9 years old. That must have been very tough, obviously. So
It's pretty tough.
where'd you go from there? Did you have a grandparent to live with, or what happened to you?
My grandmother, my grandmother and my aunt raised me. I had 3 cousins that live with me that are like my brothers.
Okay. So were you into sports at all? What kind of kid? What were you interested in?
Absolutely, man. I played football. I ran track. I did about every sport you could imagine, except for hockey. You know.
Hockey's a pain in the ass. It really is. As any hockey parent has they've always told me that. But when did you first realize, or did someone else point it out to you first, that you were a little more muscular than the average human being?
In my neighborhood, I was always bigger than all the kids and stronger than all the kids. And as around 12, I really started getting muscular out of nowhere. And it's a funny story. I'm in junior high school, and we're in the library, and all the kids are in the library. And one of my friends, he found this book. I forgot. It might be Dan Deschain's book, maybe. And it had a baby inside its mother's womb, and the baby was muscular, super muscular. And I remember my friend says, "Look, everybody, this is Caprice. He's a steroid baby. This is how he came out. He was muscular in his mother's womb." It was hysterical.
Oh man!
I laughed at it. It was funny.
That was a fake. It was a fake picture, right?
What you say?
It was a fake
picture. It was like an animated picture. It was an animated picture. Yeah.
Because I was trying to find something like that about a week or two ago. People were saying that Olympia's already over. Like Phil Heath, so they posted a picture of Phil Heath saying Phil's already won. I wanted to find a picture exactly what you described. It said, "This is Phil back in the womb. He had already won back then."
You know what? That would have been great, man.
I couldn't find one though. Damn it.
Oh man.
So when did you actually start weight training?
I started weight training right before I went to high school. I played sports, so I was getting pretty muscular already. Right. But then I started actually working out because I hurt my knee, and I decided I went to this store where they sold weights. I don't know why I went there, and I asked this guy, you know, about weight sets and everything. So yeah, this and that. I went to my doctor, and my doctor says you should start working out. You start squatting, and your knee will get better. Yeah.
Wow.
I said, all right, I'll give it a try. I started working out and completely fell in love with it, man. I'm talking about like big time.
Yeah. Did you start following the sport pretty soon after that, or were you just into the weights and the results?
Once I started working out, I started kind of reading the magazines to kind of get an idea of what working out was about.
Yeah.
You know, I would read Lee Haney's articles, Sean Ray, Barry DeMay. I could go on, you know, of all the old school bodybuilders.
How old are you, Caprice? I'm trying to figure this out.
I'm 43.
Oh, you're a kid. 43.
No way, dude.
43. My goodness.
43, yeah.
Now, I saw that you were actually a member of the same local gym that Victor was, Elmo's Gym, run by
Elmo's Gym. Oh,
Elmo's
that produced a lot of pros, bodybuilders. It is unbelievable. Martin Martinez. Oh my God, it's just so many bodybuilders came from that gym. It was a little like ghetto hole-in-the-wall gym that produced a bunch of fucking muscle heads.
Was it just the right time and place, or was there something about Elmo, the owner, that
the owner, my mentor, manager, Eddie Carroll, which he passed last year, best friend and my mentor, got me started, really set me straight of what bodybuilding was. Yeah. He just had an eye for people and people that had talent, and he would help them. And you know what? He was a guru before the gurus started. You know? Yeah. Genuine guy.
You were, you obviously had pretty decent genetics. When you started competing as a teen, were you already way thicker, way rounder looking than pretty much all the other teens around?
They had some good teens out there, man. There's some good teens.
They did.
Definitely. Had some good. In those days when I was competing, you know, Ron, because we're on the same age, Ron. Like teenagers, we had shows every weekend. It was back to back. The Tri-State, the Mets. It was just back to back shows, and people competed all the time.
Yeah.
And kids were good.
So if you look at contest results, there's a website I go to a lot called musclememory.com. And if you look at the teen nationals results from, say, like 95 and before, you see so many future pros in the lineups. You look like the couple of years that you won your class over, you could pick out like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 8 guys that were in the teen nationals every year that went on to be pros. Whereas now you're lucky if there's one every couple of years that goes on to be a pro.
I know. I tell the story all the time about, me, Rodney St. Cloud, another pro, my good friend I grew up with, trained with as a kid. Yep. Martin Martinez, another pro, trained with. He's a pro lightweight, one at the nationals, and Jay Cutler and Branch competed with me in the nationals and teen nationals, and I'm like, these guys are top pros, man.
Yeah,
top pros. It's crazy, right?
It really is when you look at it. I mean, because I go to shows, you go to shows now too, and sometimes you're lucky if there's one teenager in the whole.
Exactly. It's like it's no teenagers doing it.
And those used to be stacked, those teenage classes.
I know, you remember? It was crazy.
They break it up into weight classes, age classes, because there were so many of them.
A and B, right? Yeah, exactly.
Where are they all competing now? Men's physique, pretty much. But
yeah. Yep, exactly.
Or just posting pictures on Instagram. That's the easy way out. So you had a fairly long road to turn pro. I mean, you did it for a while. I mean, I look at your physique and I wonder, why do you think it took you? Well, I don't know when you started competing at the national level, but you see some guys turn pro within a year or two. Why do you think it took you so long? Because your physique was pro caliber from way back when.
I honestly, Ron, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
I've always loved the training part of the whole bodybuilding of changing your body from off season to on season, and very amazing to me. Yeah. It's a science. I didn't take competing that serious, really. to turn pro. I love to just compete, but I never thought about being a pro because a guy my size, you know what? It wasn't real. It really wasn't real. Until Rodney St. Cloud said to me, Caprice, man, I think you could get your pro card. And I was like, you think so? And I was like, all right. Then I started putting a lot more effort and a lot more thought into what I was doing to pursue my a pro, pro card. But it took a little while.
Would you have been more motivated if there had been a 202 or a 212 class back then?
Would I have done it?
Would you have been more motivated to turn pro if that class existed back then?
Yeah, most likely. Even back then, Ron, that was still big.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now these guys are the 212 class. They look like they're 230.
Well, I think a lot of them are 230 up until like 8 hours before the weigh-in.
Exactly. After carbon up and everything, I know.
By the time they hit the stage, I'm sure Flex Lewis is well over 220 by the time he gets on stage.
I totally agree with you. He's huge.
So, okay, so this leads me into your one and only pro bodybuilding show, 2005 New York Pro. You were in the top 5, and it was a pretty big lineup. So let's look at the line. Darren Charles won. Ahmad Badar, that's probably the best he ever did.
He was awesome. Yeah, I liked his body actually.
Victor Martinez in 3rd. Another local guy, Craig Richardson in 4th.
Yeah.
And you were in 5th. Top 5, first pro show. And 14th place, some kid named Kai Green who eventually did okay.
Yeah.
In fact, he was a little baby Kai compared to what he would become a couple years
later. What he morphed to, yeah. And I know Kai since I was a kid too.
I bet. So, what was it like? You did pretty well. What happened right after that show? I remember you got like an elbow injury or something.
Yeah, I got an elbow injury, but at the same time, people didn't know that I have seizures.
Seizures.
And it's serious. It's serious. People don't think about it or hear about it much, but I was having a lot of seizures, man. When I'm a lot bigger, something in my brain is like a off switch, and it makes me seize.
Wow.
So I had to decide if I wanted to compete and keep having seizures or just live.
So was this happening to you when you were off season or when you were dieted down or both?
Both. I think when I was at that level of being 240 all the time, it was a lot of stress on my body, and I guess that stress on my body triggers something in my brain because seizures come from the brain.
Right.
And I would have loved to continue,
Sure.
But
I mean, there were a lot of rumors. I want you to address this because all I ever heard right after that was, well, Caprice had to retire. Caprice had to quit because he had all kinds of major health problems, and people pointed to a certain coach you were working with at the time and said, this guy, it's all his fault. He loaded him up on so much gear and this and that. That's why. So,
John O'Regan, John O'Regan.
Okay. So any truth to this or no truth at all?
Absolutely not. And I would say I don't really have anything to kind of hide right now. It's like I'm not competing anymore.
Yeah.
No, it absolutely not. I don't have a lot of health problems. I started having seizures at 22.
Wow.
At 22, I started having seizures, and I wasn't even 240 pounds at that time.
Right.
The first seizure I was after the junior nationals. I had a seizure right after the junior nationals. And no, after the Metropolitans I did with Victor. Victor won the overall at the Metropolitans, and I won my class in the middleweight class. And you know what? After that, I had a seizure. That's when it started.
So when you had these seizures, like an epileptic grand mal seizure where you're on the ground, basically unconscious, and you could have choked to death, or any number of things could happen.
Yes.
Wow. So that's very scary. So did doctors find any link to that and being heavier or anything you were using, or how do you know there was any real link?
Well, my doctor at the time, my neurologist, he of course thought it was from using supplements.
Right,
and as time went on, and I got smaller and I got smaller and I got smaller and I got smaller, I could still have them if I sleep deprivation. If I'm super dehydrated, if I'm super stressed out, I have to be like stressed out to a point where to have a seizure, but stress. And he was like, it's not the supplementation you're taking. It not saying it helped,
right?
But at the same time, that's not the leading cause of why you have seizures. It's anything extreme that's going to put something extreme on your body is going to affect you in your brain, and you're going to have a seizure.
So did you have to make a decision right at that point, after you had only done this one show, that I have to walk away from all this?
Of course, I was married at that time, and I thought of course, everybody would think they could come back. It doesn't matter who it is. Any athlete, they always think they could come back. I thought about it a million times. And at that time of being married to this woman, I said to myself, listen, being married to a bodybuilder is not the easiest thing. Being married to an athlete is not the easiest thing. You know what? You're a bodybuilder. You're a diehard bodybuilder.
It sucks. It sucks for the women. It really does.
Yeah, it sucks for them. Yeah, it really does. So I decided, you know what? I put this woman through a lot, man, because me having seizures and worrying about me dying or even coming home.
Right.
I said, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I gotta stop. I said, I'm just gonna take this as there's another path for me in life.
Yeah.
And it's not bodybuilding. And I got my pro card, and I'm always gonna be a bodybuilder. I live the lifestyle every day. With me and my wife, Jill Lavodi, which is gonna be Jill Murray soon in a few weeks.
No hyphen. Okay.
We live the lifestyle all the time. It's not about being on stage. It's about being that person. And we live this lifestyle every day.
Right. Now, I think a lot of the reasons, I don't believe steroids are physically addictive, but I think they're absolutely psychologically addictive. And it's not even the drugs that are addictive. It's the fact that, a lot of us, I'm speaking for a lot of us who are watching this and who do this thing. You get used to being big, and you can't imagine ever not being big. Especially, a lot of us weren't genetically gifted. A lot of us took years and years to get big, and it's scary to think of ever being small or normal looking again.
Listen, Ron. We all have that in us, and the funny part about it is that it is scary because you get used to being this person, this almost invincible, like superhero type person. Yeah. And the thought of just being thin or even being smaller is frightening. Yeah. How could it not be? When you've dedicated half of your life or a huge portion of your life to it.
Yeah.
You feel like you're almost taking a step back.
So how did you deal with it? Because you were one of the thickest guys in the sport. And then to have to watch it slowly fade away, you're never. I've seen you. You're never going to look like a normal person. You always have these shoulders and arms. You're muscular. You're always going to look athletic and muscular no matter what. Whether you're, I don't know, what do you weigh now? I don't even know.
About 185.
Okay. At your height, that's a pretty big dude, regardless. But how did you deal with going from losing that ridiculous cartoonish size? Was it tough for you?
Yeah, but I'm a person. I don't really kind of dwell on things. I kind of say, you know what, this is what it is, and I got to come up with a plan B. And I just told myself, I said, you know what? At that time, I was competing and putting 100% into bodybuilding. And I said, you know what? Let me just start putting 100% into my personal training business, and make some money. I like money. Everybody likes money,
Sure.
And at the same time, I could help people look better and feel healthier. And I was still training. I was still helping athletes compete also. So kind of my heart went from doing it for myself to doing it for others.
Yeah. Do you also coach? Have you been prepping athletes for all this time?
Yeah. At this time, Leo Pachenko, he's doing Olympia. I train him, and that's one of the guys that I train. I help him out and train him, and a good friend of mine.
What division is that?
He's in classic physique.
Okay.
It's his Olympia debut.
Yeah. Wow. Awesome. I'll get to you did men's physique briefly, but I wanted your comment on classic because you just brought it up. We're seeing open bodybuilding. It's gone to even more extremes than when you were doing it. you know, we just had this tragedy with Dallas earlier this
Yeah,
week.
that's sad, man.
And, you know, no one's, I'm not saying it was directly related to anything. We're not going to know anything till the autopsy, but it's safe to say that the guys now are so big and there are so many different things being used in such large amounts that I think all the young guys getting into this now, they look at their options, and that doesn't seem like a good option to many of them. Classic seems like a little healthier, a little safer. Men's physique, obviously, even healthier and safer in comparison. You know, if you were 15 years old today and you saw all the options, which one do you think you would pick?
I always like big muscles.
Yeah.
Since a kid, you know what? I love my action figures. All my action figures have muscles.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like I always love muscles. You know what? Of course, I like classic. Classic, I don't even have a problem with that. I think it's awesome that they brought this division into bodybuilding. Everybody does not have the genetics to be that size.
Right.
So it's more realistic. It's more realistic to be that size than to be even a tier level pro,
Yeah.
which is still huge.
Right.
Open pro, you know. So I think it's awesome because it gives everyone a chance to kind of perform and try and show their genetics off, you know.
Yeah. So this is 2013. You made a comeback in men's physique. Was that the year?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, 2013 maybe.
So what led you to? Well, there was no classic yet. Obviously, that wouldn't come out for another 3 years. But what made you want to come back and do physique, men's physique?
I just want to come back and just say, you know what, I did it. I could do men's physique and I could place there too.
Yeah.
You know, that's not my thing. You know what? I have nothing against it.
Right.
I'm a diehard bodybuilder.
Yeah, I recall looking when I heard you were coming back in men's physique. I don't want to say disappointed, but I mean, I said he's not that you're. I don't know. I want to say this right. It's not that you were too good for men's physique, but I mean, you were this great bodybuilder. You know, you could have, had you kept on your path, I have no doubt, especially once the 202 division came along, like 3 or 4 years after you retired.
Yeah, like 3 or 4 years later.
You would have been, no doubt, one of the top guys in that. There's no doubt in my mind.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
And, you know, but now when I see classic, I'm not going to try to talk you into a comeback. You know, that's for you to think about. But I mean, that's something I could see you doing that's more fitting to you. You know what I mean? It'd be just a downsized version of that same physique that was a national champion.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying, Ron. I know. I get it. I totally get it.
I mean, I'm not pressuring you, but if you ever made a comeback, I'd like to see it. I'd like to see you in class.
I hear from my wife all the time.
just so you guys know, we'll show some pictures up, but his wife is a women's physique pro, Jill Lavoti. So they both kind of work out and everything.
Yeah, just a little bit, Ron. Yeah.
You know, I won't make this all into a romance, but how did you guys end up meeting and becoming a couple?
Oh, I know Jill for probably 20 years, man.
Wow. Okay.
And we always have been friends and always got along well. You know, it's just timing wasn't right.
Yeah.
And we tried one time. It just wasn't right at that time either.
Okay.
And we got together, and I kind of knew it would work because we're good friends. And when you're good friends, sometimes, you know what, a relationship could work a lot better. She's my best friend. So
cool. Okay. Yeah, because I don't know how all this works. I've been married since I was 12 years old, so I don't know. I always worry.
It's such an ass.
Maybe the guy. I always hear if you're in the friend zone, you never get out of the friend zone. I don't know. What do I know? I don't even know the rules. Like you're supposed to not call the girl for 3 days. I don't know. Anyway, but you guys actually made it official earlier this year. You got married in
June.
In June, and then did you get married some faraway island, or was that your honeymoon?
No, it was our honeymoon.
Okay, cool. So, you know, what's it like having a household where both people are completely into this lifestyle, as opposed to, you know, I don't want you to mention anyone specifically, but you've been in relationships in the past where the woman probably wasn't as much into this. So what's the difference?
Oh, it's a big difference because when you're with someone that does the same thing as you and has the same appreciation for what we do, it's a lot easier because you know what, she knows the moods, she knows how you feel, she knows the whole thing, and we come together and we could talk about it, and it becomes a lot easier when someone understands, man. A lot easier.
Cool.
You know? I'm pretty sure you get it, Ron.
Well, my wife's a CrossFitter now, so, but they have the best sneakers. Those Reebok CrossFit Nanos.
They really do. They've taken over pretty much.
Yeah, CrossFit's no joke. For any of you guys who rip on CrossFit, go take a CrossFit class or a workout sometime.
Oh, it's serious.
Good luck. Good luck.
Yeah, I know.
So what was I going to ask you next? So how is your training? I know you're into a lot more healthy and functional training. What kind of training have you been into all this time? It's not just, it's got to be very, very different from when you were competing in bodybuilding.
Oh, you know what, I still bodybuild,
Right.
train like that. I switch my training all the time, just because, you know, the joints and stuff like that. The joints are not like they used to be.
Right.
They don't work the same. They don't work the same. So, you know, you got to be a little smarter if you're gonna last. If you're gonna last in this sport and continue to work out and look good, you gotta think about doing other things. So I still bodybuild. I still train like a bodybuilder, but I do a lot of other things to incorporate with bodybuilding.
Because I see like plyometrics and
Yeah.
mobility work. So
Exactly.
you're a lot more well-rounded now in terms of, you know, being fit and being healthy, I think, than most of us who just go to the gym and lift weights and drink our whey protein, go home or
Go home. I go and watch Netflix.
Exactly. So you've been able to watch the sport evolve over the years. Do you think classic and men's physique, do you think they're eventually going to eclipse bodybuilding? Because at the local shows, the numbers for those are just boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, they're
The
going.
bodybuilding's kind of holding steady, dropping, holding steady, dropping. You know, where do you see bodybuilding headed as opposed to these other divisions?
I think bodybuilding's always going to be there because that always attracts a lot of people. I'm not going to lie. Classic, I think classic is going to attract a lot of people too, and it's making a killing and making a killing with it because, you know, it's tons of people, but the quality is going down.
Mm.
The quality of genetically gifted people are going down because it's too many people and too many pro cards being given out.
Yep,
You know,
yep.
bodybuilding is still very hard to. The quality has went down there also because there's not as many people and it's just not the same genetic pool that we used to have. Ron, if you went to the nationals, man, the top 20 guys, any of them could win.
Oh, yeah.
Pro. Any of them. Now, absolutely not.
Well, the speculation, some people have put out this theory that, you know, we used to have there was only bodybuilding. That's all there was. So all the best genetically gifted people would be in bodybuilding, whereas now a lot of those guys who probably have the genetics to be great bodybuilders, they decided they're going to do men's physique or classic physique instead. So the bodybuilding gene pool has kind of gotten watered down.
Absolutely. Because now people don't want to push it.
Right. So I mean, you must have a lot of young guys coming to you. What are their thoughts on what they want to do? What do they talk about? You know, when we were kids, we just want to be huge because we saw Arnold and Stallone, and our action figures, like you said, were jacked. And the wrestling, we used to watch wrestling on TV, and those guys all look like pro bodybuilders. And things have definitely changed. It's not, I don't think that's the ideal anymore. So, you know, as a trainer, as a coach, what kind of goals do people come to you with now?
Well, I still do train bodybuilders, so which is so much fun because, you know, I that's who I am and I love it. You know, Roxanne Edwards, she's a pro too. I train her, and I got another kid, Sam, that's doing his first local show, and pretty good genetically gifted kid, man. So we'll see what happens, but a lot of guys are doing men's physique. A lot of guys are doing men's physique, man.
Yeah,
I know, in the gym, there's so many people that want to do men's physique because it's more attainable, and of course, you don't have to do as many vitamins as everyone else.
Well, I mean, that's the thing is everybody wants to turn pro now, and that's fine. You know, I get it. And you know, if I said to you, it's going to take you 10 years, it's going to cost you this much money, you're going to have to take these things, and you might get a pro card, or we could do the board shorts, and we could do this in 2 years. You'll spend 1/3 the money on food and vitamins, and you know, risk will be a lot less. I would do the same thing as if I was one of these kids. It's an easier way. Who wants to suffer and, you know, put 10 times more effort and time into it if you don't have to. I get that.
I get it a little bit, Ron. I get it a little bit.
Yeah.
Because we still bodybuild, and it's so. I don't have to get on stage to go into the gym and go balls to the wall, because you know what? It's not about that. It's about still having your physique look like something, and still be able to do it and train fucking hard, dude. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's not pretty, and it's not supposed to be pretty.
All right. So I'm just curious. I know you were very, very strong back in the day. I'm sure you're still very strong for your size and everything. But what were some of the lifts you were doing at your very strongest? Because I seem to recall some crazy numbers.
Like squatting, I do like 4 or 5 for 20 reps. You know, like that was legs was really crazy. But I mean, we always train heavy, but smart.
Yeah.
But smart.
So when we were coming up, LA was the Mecca.
Yeah.
Everyone had to get out to LA.
Yeah.
Somehow, over the years, it seems to have shifted all the way over to like New York, New Jersey.
Yep.
Yeah. How or why do you think that happened? That the East Coast, in particular, that little tri-state area, became the Mecca, and that's where so many champions come from now.
I think Steve's gym, Ben Francis' gym, is an amazing gym, and he's a very known person in bodybuilding. And you know, I think in California, it's not the same at all. I don't think people are bodybuilding like that. People are staying fit. People are staying healthy. People are doing a lot of other things besides like being big. You know, I always say, you know what, muscles never go out of style. You know what, big muscles never go out of style. It might go out of style for, it's like bell bottoms. Bell bottoms always come back, man.
Dude, fanny packs are coming back.
Exactly. It always comes back. It just comes back a little fancier. Yeah, you know? Yeah. But I think I'm glad that the East like we took over a little bit, you know? Like give us our fucking dues, you know? we got some good stuff over here, and you know, and like give us our dues. It's time. And I think the Mecca and you know New Jersey and even Connecticut, you know, has a good gym out there, like good bodybuilding gym, some decent bodybuilders, I guess, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, Bevan Steve's is obviously everyone knows that's an awesome gym. And
yeah, that's an awesome gym.
If you're ever within 50 miles of Syosset, you got to get over there.
You got to get over there. Yeah.
Have you trained at the Montanari Brothers Powerhouse where Evan trains?
Oh, I haven't, but I knew a few people that will go there, and they said the gym is pretty cool too. We got some bodybuilders hiding around there, and
yeah, I'm too lazy to drive the extra 2 hours to Long Island, so I stopped at New Haven, Connecticut. That's as far as I go. It's a pretty awesome gym. Yeah, I want people forgot you were actually an MD athlete for a time.
Yeah.
You had a column called Mutant Muscle.
Yes.
I think I wrote. Did I write it? I probably did, right?
Yeah, you did write it. Yeah. You don't even remember, Ron.
I'm almost 48. I can't remember jack shit anymore. But yeah, was it tough? You had to turn your back, and I know it was for health reasons and everything. But was it tough to really? You were just starting to get all the things that everybody wants in bodybuilding. You know, you got your pro card. You had a magazine column. Your pictures were in the magazines. I don't want to keep revisiting that, but it must have been. You know, I'm sure some people would have said, "Well, I'll have a seizure now and then, but it'll be okay." You know, I mean, for you, it was not even a question, right?
No, it was. Like I said, I of course it was in the back of my mind to, you know, take a little break and then make a comeback. Of course, you know what, any athlete is going to think that way. You're in your 30s, you're in your 20s, you think you're invincible.
Right.
But I came to the realization that, listen, anything could happen to me walking in the streets, training one of my clients. I've had seizures with my client, with my clients, training my client, and I have a seizure. Yeah. Like, it became, you know what, bodybuilding is great, and bodybuilding has done a lot for me. It has. I love it. I can't even say anything bad about it, really. But I wanted to live. I think I have a lot more to give. I have a lot more to give. You know, and you know, there's plenty of times that my heart stopped from having a seizure. You know.
Oh, okay.
You know,
right.
Like people don't understand that my heart is not the same as it used to be either because of seizures also.
Wow.
And you know, it's serious. It's not people don't understand what seizures are, so they don't they just see it as a condition, and it's not that serious, but it is freaking serious, man. It's serious what your body goes through for those seconds that you're having a seizure.
Yeah.
People can't even imagine, you know? They can't even imagine.
No, I didn't realize that. I didn't realize your heart could stop during a seizure.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's like taking a wire and shocking your body, and after that, you're still like that for days. Your brain is still kind of shook up. You know, you at that time you're having a seizure, you probably won't even remember who the president is.
Wow.
Which I probably don't want to know right now either. But
yeah. Well, I've taken a lot of heat for saying Trump's a moron, so I won't say it. But you know, you made a really strong impact for the brief time that you were a pro bodybuilder. I mean, if I say the name Caprice, I don't have to say Murray. Everybody knows exactly who I'm talking about. You know, unless they're like 20 years old or something. Just like I could say Ronnie or Dorian or Victor. Yeah. Everyone knows exactly. Because I don't think I've ever known another Caprice, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the name does stick out a little bit.
So they did you a solid, your mom or whoever came up with that name.
They knew, Ron. They knew something ahead of time.
Joe Murray would not have been quite as memorable. What have you thought with these comebacks that we've seen? Because these are guys that we look up to, like Kevin, and now Flex coming back. Is it bizarre for you to see these guys come back after being so gone for so long?
Yeah, it is, because like those two were so awesome. Yeah. Like those two, they don't even have to say anything. Like, you don't have to prove anything. These two guys, they're top Olympia guys, won numerous shows. I followed them all the time, man. Like, I remember when Kevin LeBron won the Junior Nationals, and I was like, wow, this guy's gonna be something. Then he competed with Porter Cottrell in the Nationals, and he won the overall, and Porter Cottrell got the light heavyweight class. You know, yeah. I can remember all that stuff like it was yesterday. Yeah. Those guys are awesome. Flex is awesome. When Flex won the Cal State, he was nowhere near the size that he was.
He was light heavy.
Light heavy. Yeah. You know, I know my bodybuilding history, that's for sure, and I know you do, Ron.
Yeah, Flex won the 1989 NPC California Championships. All right. He was 189 pounds.
I watched that at like 2 o'clock in the morning on ESPN.
American Muscle, that's right.
American Muscle, yep.
What a great show that was.
That was a great show. It's sad that it's gone.
That was 8 years of my life, that show. But wouldn't be here today if it weren't for that show. So, thank you. Do you still follow the sport real close? Are you still a fan?
Not as deep as I used to. But listen, when Olympia comes, I'm watching, and I know exactly who's winning. No, I still have friends that are competing. Victor's my friend. Dexter's my friend. Like, I know these guys personally, and like they're still competing, and it's still like bodybuilding. I watch this. It still gives me the chills. Still gives me the chills because the genetic freaks when you're still there at that top level and being in your 40s.
Yeah.
Athletes don't. They just at 40 it starts going downhill, man.
Right.
These guys are still cracking the whip, man.
Dexter he'll be 48 in November. I believe Roden is like 43, 44. He's up there.
I think Victor's 44.
Victor's 44. Kai, nobody knows, but Kai's not in the Olympics.
Kai's like, I think 42 or 43.
Kai's age is a mystery. It was like that Obama birth certificate.
Yeah. It's a mystery, yeah.
Theoretically, he's 42 or 43. But, why do you think it is? When we were starting to follow the sport way back, I assume, well, I'm a little older, but like late 80s, that's when I was following, 87, 89. A 40-year-old man competing in open bodybuilding, aside from Albert Beckles, that was like, no. Haney retired at 31.
Yep.
Dorian was like 36 when the injuries forced him, but it was just unheard of. You didn't see guys this. Why do you think guys are able to have this longevity now? Do you think they're just smarter, or they just won't go away? What is it?
Of course they're smarter because, within time, science and technology just gets better. So you just know more, but they're relentless. They're relentless. And you know what? Like we're just saying, the talent pool is not where it used to be. And these guys, even if it were good, they still be at the top because these are genetic freaks. If you look at the sport, it was Kai there for years, Victor for years. These guys have been there at the top for so many years. They're just genetic freaks, man.
Yeah. But at the same, there's other genetic freaks that have come and gone.
Yeah.
Some of them never even turned pro.
Yeah.
A lot of them never even turned pro. But yeah, the longevity now is just crazy. I mean, I like seeing it. It shows you.
Me too. I like seeing it too.
So I'm not going to ask you for predictions because I think that's a bunch of shit. But who would you like? What would your dream top 5 this year be? If you were judging and everybody was in their best possible shape, what would your top 5 be?
I don't think anyone's gonna beat Heath this year. So I'm gonna put him on a different side.
Okay.
Not taking anything away from anyone else.
Right.
But he is the best right now, and it's hard to beat the best. You have to not beat him. You have to destroy him. So if no one's gonna destroy him, they're just gonna get this close. It doesn't matter. He's bulletproof.
Yeah.
I like Sean Roden. Of course, Victor's my boy, and I think Victor still has an amazing body. That would be ideal for him to be 40 something and be in the top 5. Dexter, of course. I like William Bonek, man.
Yeah.
I like him, and I saw him compete at the Tampa Pro when Jill competed.
Yeah.
And I said to her, William Bonek, this kid is amazing. I said, this kid is amazing. 3-4 years later, he's kicking ass, man. I like him. I like William Bonek. I want to see him in the top 5. Did he make top 5 last year? Or
he was 5th. He was 5th.
He was 5th, yeah.
So you did not have Big Ramy in your top 5.
I like Ramy, but I'm not taking anything away from him. I just think he doesn't get as conditioned as these other guys. If he got as conditioned as them, it would be hard to beat this guy. It would be really hard to beat this guy. He's big. He has a very small waist for a big guy. Very small waist for a big guy. To see him in the condition as these top 5 guys, it would be silly.
Yeah. Well, hopefully someday, because he's one of those guys that I've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and it's just when's it going to happen?
When it's going to happen?
It's really the thighs the most. That's where I want to see more going on.
Yeah, to be more shredded.
Thighs.
Yeah,
they're this big. They don't need to be any bigger. They could actually be a little smaller, probably.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
Oh, cool. Well, I'm so glad. I knew you were doing okay. I've seen you and everything, but a lot of people haven't heard about anything about you for years because you're not out there like trying to be a celebrity or anything, like a lot of people on Instagram and Facebook are these days. But I'm glad to see you're happy, healthy. Everything's going cool with you. Any special shout outs or thank yous that you want to get to before we go?
Definitely. You know what? I probably wouldn't be talking to you if it wasn't for my wife. Jill Lavodi. I love her to death, and I know she's a good friend of yours.
Yeah.
And I'm a quiet guy, and I probably wouldn't be talking to you, Ron, if it wasn't for her. I'm actually, I'm gonna write a book. Actually, Ron, and I'm gonna plug that. But I basically I want to thank everybody that's has supported me, all these years, and still like say, Caprice, you look great, and you know what, you were great then and you're great now, and they like me as a person. Because in bodybuilding you come and go and people forget you very fast.
Yes.
And you know what? I still get a lot of love from people, and I'm happy. I'm totally happy about that. But my life is going great. I'm married. I just got married, but my book is hopefully coming out in the next few months.
So where can people follow you? On Facebook, you're under your own name, right?
Yes, Facebook and Instagram. I'm not actually on right now, but I'm gonna put myself back on.
On Instagram. Yeah, you gotta get on IG, guy.
Yeah.
Because especially this book's gonna have some stories in it. I'm sure people are gonna want to read it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, when it comes out, let me know. I'll help publicize it any way I can for sure.
Thank you, Ron. I appreciate that, man.
It's been great talking to you. Appreciate you taking the time. And I hope to see you around some of the local shows, especially Jill's little brother Nick started competing last year. Hopefully he's going to do another show or two in the area. We'll all get together again.
Oh, he will. We'll get together and we'll all train together and joke around like we always do.
That's what we haven't had yet. We haven't had a big group workout. That's coming.
I know. We got to do that, Ron. We got to do that, man.
Got to get to Waltham, Massachusetts, or Watertown, one of those close by areas.
We'll get there.
Cool, man. All right, thank you so much for joining us, talking to us today, Caprice. For the Ronline Report, it's been Ron Harris with Caprice Murray.
Thanks, Ron.